Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Gaming League, Season 9, Minions, Round 2. And the left-hand side of the map, playing as Ukraine, we have Kernal Panic. And on the right side of the map, playing as England, we have Zaqzorn. Let's go to the production tab. Both players dead even in deployment of their barracks. Kernal Panic also building a kennel. We might see a very early engagement within 1 minute of the start of this game. Kernal Panic going deep, looking for the flank. Lone Rifleman able to hold a stationary position, but not soon enough. He's looking for the snipe on that engineer, but he's not going to find it. I hate to say it, but a better strategy might have been to wait a second for that dog and have a line of sight advantage. Total of 2 oil derricks on this map and 2 hospitals on either side. Kernal Panic is going to be more interested in those hospitals, being the Soviets unable to heal his own units. And both players have a derrick. Both players about dead even on actions per minute. Kernal Panic leading the way at 30 to 25 actions per minute. Kernal Panic going double ref. Both players going double ref. But Zaqzorn ahead in building of his war factory. Sizable infantry force from Zaqzorn. They're going to take that hospital right from Kernal Panic. A lone rifleman going down to a 6 stack. And the engineer's about to cap it. Kernal Panic's going to take his own hospital in the upper left-hand corner of the map. Kernal Panic with a grenadier rush following the roads, the yellow brick road. I hope that's not copyrighted. Trying to find a flank on the base of Zaqzorn. Both players out now. No. Kernal Panic sitting on his war factory. And his grenadier is getting taken out. Deploys his war factory, and he's going to come out with a ore truck. A ranger out for Zaqzorn. He's going to have great line of sight and be able to harass the infantry of Kernal Panic. Zaqzorn with a sizable infantry force, keeping his units alive and consolidating his forces since the beginning of the game. The ranger providing excellent line of sight for the rifleman. And he's going to take that derrick from Kernal Panic. Kernal Panic now, well, sitting on that power plant for just a second. Deploys an effective flame tower. Without rocket troopers, it's very difficult to take out a flame tower. You are just going to lose so much and not trade well. Pulls back, maintaining 5 of those troops. Each player with a hospital. Zaqzorn with the only 2 derricks on the game. And that was a taxi cab. Zaqzorn's going to capture that hospital from Kernal Panic. Kernal Panic now without the ability to heal his units. Kernal Panic at 50 actions per minute to Zaqzorn's 25. Kernal Panic also on 6 harvesters to Zaqzorn's 5 harvesters now and 2 derricks. And it looks like Zaqzorn might be going for a flank or some kind of maneuver. Kernal Panic is going to be well ahead of Zaqzorn in the deployment of his MCV, due out in another 20 seconds. Zaqzorn coming out with a light tank. And the infantry contingent of Zaqzorn looks like they're looking for some eco-harassment. Scoping out Zaqzorn's natural expansion. And the light tank from Zaqzorn is going to come in from the south and do some scouting. And if they move in on that force of harvesters there, that is going to be a deadly blow to Kernal Panic. Looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Kernal Panic's MCV getting away. Kernal Panic dropping a flame tower, but there's rocket troopers in that mix. They dispatched that flame tower quickly, and they're firing on the harvesters. The harvesters finding good crushes. One of those harvesters going down. Second harvester going down, blocking the entrance to the refinery. Third harvester going down. Kernal Panic is now on 4 harvesters and recaptures an oil derrick. Kernal Panic on his first expansion. Zaqzorn on his first expansion, yet to deploy anything on it. And Kernal Panic is trying to mine the first expansion of Zaqzorn, but getting chased off. Looks like those mines took out a 5-stack. Kernal Panic still with a flame tower in his pocket. Good form. Zaqzorn's going to lose the opportunity to kill that expansion, but he has a sizable force on the lower left-hand or lower right-hand corner of the map. A pop and drop from Kernal Panic deploys a flame tower, a refinery, and a barracks, and moves on to his secondary natural expansion. And a counteroffensive from Zaqzorn. Looks like he's going to try for some eco-harassment. With that many rocket troopers, Zaqzorn's going to have to react quickly. Pulls the harvester. And a conga line running right into that pillbox. Very unfortunate. Small force of Kernal Panic being taken out by Zaqzorn. That may have just been a scouting force, or he may have been attempting a flank. Zaqzorn locked out of his single ore patch. And looks like Zaqzorn's trying to find a flank again. Tank's out of position. He's fallen back. Now reverses course. In a good concave shape. He's going to trade well here. Zaqzorn moving on to his second expansion. Kernal Panic also on his second expansion. Now on his third expansion, really, moving out his main MCV. But Kernal Panic is going to have to divert his attention to defending his base. Doesn't pull that orb miner in time. Kernal Panic on 7 ore miners, with Zaqzorn on 5. Looks like that was another harvester that went down to the eco raiding party of Kernal Panic. Zaqzorn's forces missing an easy kill on that MCV with all those rocket troopers there. They could have gotten that for sure. Some mine layer shenanigans from Kernal Panic. Kernal Panic also attempting to destroy the oil derrick of Zaqzorn. Zaqzorn without an answer to that. He's gonna... Oh, and another ore trek of Zaqzorn going down to the mine layer. If that's the same mine layer, that thing paid for itself many times over. Kernal Panic attacking the second expansion of Zaqzorn, routing the MCV, uprooting him and forcing him to move south. More mine layer shenanigans, but not in time to catch that MCV. And another ore truck of Zaqzorn going down. Kernal Panic now on 10,000 income to Zaqzorn's 5,700. Kernal Panic with 7 harvesters and 1 oil derrick to Zaqzorn's 3. And 0 derricks, respectively. A sizable force from Zaqzorn moving into the enemy base, basically uncontested. He's going right for the service depot there. And without build radius, Kernal Panic doesn't really have an answer for this other than heavy tanks. But 3 heavies versus 4 mediums. That's a dead even split if it weren't for the riflemen. And Zaqzorn loses his service depot, maintains his war factory. And we have a standoff here, line of sight advantage from that heavy tank for Kernal Panic. And a contingent of rocket troopers. We've got Kernal Panic on what I believe is his 5th expansion. Still with 2 MCVs, using his main MCV effectively. Moving it out. Zaqzorn still with build radius on his main base, littering the area with pillboxes. Zaqzorn looking for a weak point, attacking the flame towers with heavy armor. That's always a good decision. And a rocket troop to boot. Very smart offensive from Zaqzorn. I think he just moved out his expansion MCV. He's going to contest that ore patch and claim it for his own. Unless I'm miscounting. Oh, there it is. I thought for a second Kernal Panic might have lost his expansion MCV, but retains both his MCVs and loses another harvester. Zaqzorn down to 3 harvesters, 5,300 income to Kernal Panic's 8 harvesters and 11,000 income. Kernal Panic with a flank around the south end. He's going to look for an eco snipe. Zaqzorn responds with a sizable force. The line of sight advantage, they're going to trade well here. Obliterating the fat forces of Zaqzorn without losing a single harvester. And looks like we got an APC drop here. Going in through the front door, practically ringing the doorbell on their way in. This is a flamer drop on the MCV. Wow. That was a sweet flamer drop. By far my favorite move. And the APC's cleaning up the service depot. Both APCs escaping. And with another eco snipe force. Kernal Panic calling it quits. Negative. Zaqzorn calling it quits at 14 minutes and 6 seconds. 459 to 429 with Zaqzorn in the lead. Kernal Panic winning the game. Let's go to the Eco tab. Both players dead even until minute 3. Kernal Panic, I just don't know how he was able to get ahead like that. I think he was cranking out a few more harvesters or microing those harvesters. Let's go to the Army graph. Zaqzorn ahead throughout most of the game until a decisive battle event. Honestly, Kernal Panic on this larger map, just with more expansions, sticking to more defensible positions. I like the placement. Well, it's not ideal, but it's a good ore refinery placement. Hard to get around there. And despite losing most of his expansion in the northern part of the map, retains a formidable economy, sniping the harvesters of Zaqzorn all game long. And let's go on to game number 2.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 2. In the upper right corner, playing as the French, we have Zaqzorn. And in the lower left corner, playing as the French, we have Kernal Panic. Let's go to the production tab. Both players nearly dead even. Zaqzorn ahead by about tenth of a second or so. Both players come out with their barracks, but Kernal Panic not producing troops until just now. That's going to put Zaqzorn ahead for control of the map. He's got a conga line coming down the center of the map and also covering his flanks. I love this map so much. Dual cold front, and although we end up seeing the same maps, it seems, over and over again, it seems like each battle on this map is different. There are so many opportunities to flank. It is so hard to create defensible positions without having a mobile army. And although it's a smallish map, it's very dynamic. Lots of rivers, lots of bridges, lots of cliffs, and some really key strategic positions. Kernal Panic going War Factory first. Zaqzorn going double ref. Moves out his main MCV at minute 141. Let's see how far he's going to push up there all the way. Kernal Panic with good awareness on Zaqzorn's base. Zaqzorn with a pillbox ready. And a sizable infantry force. Kernal Panic going War Factory first here is really going to struggle to hold on, especially with the creation of a ore miner first and another ore miner on the way. He does not have any armor on the field. He's trying to eco up and go for a greedy build. Zaqzorn anticipates this, I bet, and deploys a pillbox really not far away from Kernal Panic's base. Zaqzorn with an infantry push, a sizable infantry force. Kernal Panic with no answer to this. Loses his barracks. Loses a power plant. Both players dead even on actions per minute. And about to lose his War Factory. This is good game for sure at minute 3. Harvester coming in and quickly falling to rocket trooper fire. Kernal Panic calling it good game at 3 minutes and 15 seconds. The shortest game that we've seen in this series so far. A score of 64-10. And just a phenomenal base push. A risky maneuver by any measure. However, Zaqzorn really knew what he was doing. And it was the perfect time to do it. That War Factory first build is effective if, well, on a bigger map. Honestly, on a map like this, it all comes down to infantry pressure early in the game. Kernal Panic trying to recreate the results of the last game on a map that's, about 2/3 of the size with only about half of the playable area. So Zaqzorn's base push really caught him off guard before he was able to get any armor onto the field. And honestly, Kernal Panic making a mistake queuing up those 2 ore trucks at the beginning without any armor at all. A couple of APCs really would have helped him out. Also, without any defensive structures, or these can't have APCs, he's allies. So a couple of Rangers might have helped him out, but really he needed some troop pressure and some defensive structures. So that's Red Alert Gaming League. A split between Zaqzorn and Kernal Panic, each one winning 1 game in this in their matches for round number 2, Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 2. I'm going to go to the ecograph. Too short of game, really, to make any comments about it. Zaqzorn just coming out with a large army. Again, Red Alert Gaming League Season 9 Minions Round 2.
Battle control terminated.